So, hello everyone. Thank you for coming to our webinar. And today, we will cover the AI IPU Cloud infrastructure powered by Graphcore. And also we will cover the topic related to the new trends and solutions in AI and machine learning, how our world changed with the new ML model, which will be integrated to the enterprises. And also we will cover the topic where you can train the huge ML models such as GPT-3 and potentially GPT-4 and other models, and where you can find this infrastructure. My name is Seva Vayner. I'm product director for cloud platform in Gcore. And before we discuss the topic related to the AI, I would like to cover about the Gcore, the next slide. So Gcore is the global international cloud edge provider where we provide the infrastructure and platform services for our customer around the globe. We have the 140 point of presence, and we have the 170 terabit per second network capacity, where we provide all of this capacity around the globe. Our headquarters in Luxembourg, but we have a lot of branches around the globe. And as I mentioned, so we provide the different infrastructure and platform services as the CDN. We are top 5 CDN providers around the globe. We also provide the video platform where we can provide the transcoding video, live streaming with ultra low latency. We also provide the DDoS protection in all layers. And also we provide the option where our scrubbing sensor used as the CDN node, so we can distribute the non-legacy traffic around the globe. And also the cloud platform, which including a lot of sub-services in the infrastructure and platform layer. But let's discuss more deeply for the next slide, please. So for the Cloud Edge platform, we provide the infrastructure services like virtual machines. So this is the basic CPU instances, but we also collaborate with the Intel, where we provide the option to get the confidential computing as a service, where we provide the Intel SGX capabilities inside the virtual machines. And also we support the GPU if you would like to train and inference your ML models on the GPU side as well. One of our advantage services is bare metal, where a customer can bring the dedicated server in the cloud way. So we automatically provision the operation system, configuring the network, and the similar like the creating the new virtual machine or manage them, but it will be the pure dedicated hardware which allocated for your needs. And also we can create the private network and connect your bare metal instances and the virtual instances in the single L2 private network. And also we have the direct connection between our partners, hyperscalers like AWS, GCP, and Azure. And also we provide the option to connect the customers' network infrastructure with our cloud. Also, we provide load balancers, user management, snapshots, external block storage, and all other infrastructure services which are available for the customers. And also, we're looking for the extend our services on the platform layer, because the more and more engineers would like to have all services and all solutions in one click, like managed Kubernetes, where we provide the option to bring the Kubernetes cluster in a few clicks with after scaling and after healing. And we have a plan to support the Kubernetes cluster on the bare metal, which will be released this year. Also, we have the logging as a service, where customer can bring the application logs and store on our platform without any maintain the logging solutions like Ilka or Loki. So it's our responsibility, and customer can only pay for the storing the logs. Also, we have the function as a service, where customer can put the function or the code based on the Python or Golang language. We can compile that and run on our infrastructure and provide the after scaling for their needs without any maintenance and support to maintain the infrastructure side. So it's fully automated, and the customer can also run the small functions and use that in our cloud. And also, one of the biggest topic is the AI platform, which I will describe more deeply in the next slides. And all of these services and solutions available through self-service portal, API, and Terraform provider. And you can use the pay-as-you-go model with the per-minute certification. And also, we will provide the customer report where you can granularly check the costs, how you spend for each resources in the specific project, in the specific region, and the specific account. The next slide. Yeah, so let's talk about the AI market and what's new we see in the machine learning market and how the companies and industries integrated the ML to their business applications. So for the last 3 years, we see that the revenue of the artificial intelligence growing very rapidly and fast. So the total worldwide artificial intelligence software revenue will equal $596 billion in 2025. And the healthcare part will equal $22 billion in 2025. And I believe that when the ChatGPT released and started available for everyone, so more and more companies start to thinking about how to integrate and how to optimize their services and solutions or provide the additional features based on the ML for the customers as well. The next slide. And you can see that from the market overview in 2018, so only 40% responded companies say that they spend around the 5% spend the revenue or the budget to integrate the AI. And at this moment, we see that the more and more customers spend the budgets to integrate the AI in different layers and levels as well. And I think for the next few years, and maybe potentially for the 5 years, its number will be increased significantly. And every company will use ML no matter where. So it can be a customer face integration, and model will be integrated to the end feature, or it can be used from the internal usage for the monitoring perspective, for the alerting system, and any other tools which will be used for the customer needs. The next slide. And you can see that the AI research publication grows also significantly, and more researchers take the projects where they enable ML to the R&D projects or related to the specific potential future science project as well. So that's why we see that the infrastructure and the new models and the new not only for the training perspective, but also for the inference will grow very fast, and potentially the customers will look for new infrastructure where they can train and inference their ML models. The next slide. Yeah, and if we see the AI trends for the next 10 years, so we can see that the chatbots, it's the very popular things at this moment, especially with the again the ChatGPT as well, and any other chats which can be integrated to the gaming and entertainment, to filtering, or have the specific bots which will be speak with you. Semantic search will be also one of the topic, which also will be very popular in 2-5 years. NLP, one of the biggest area where you need to integrate the the NLP model and provide the training for these NLP models. And for this case, you need to have the huge amount of the hardware to train all of these models as well. AI orchestration and generative AI will also be popular for the next 2, 4, 5 years. The next slide. Yeah, and you can see that. So related to the years and the new models which we have in the world. So at this moment, one of the popular is the GPT-3. Lambda and Palm has the, for example, for the Palm, they provide the 540 billion parameters. And if you have the more parameters, and of course, especially it can be drawing or language or vision, but if you have the bigger number of the parameters, you need to have the bigger number of the compute resources where you can train this model and use this amount of the parameters for the training. The next slide. And related to the ChatGPT, so the ChatGPT already announced that. So for the ChatGPT 3, they use the 175 billion parameters. So this is the really big amount of the number of the parameters. But they already released that the GPT-4 will have the 100 trillion parameters. And I think so. It's question not only for me, but it's question for every world where you will find the hardware and infrastructure for training this huge amount of the hardware. So it can be the HPC, it can be the GPU clusters, but I think so the world need to have some kind of the new architecture to apply the challenge of the train of this amount of the parameters for the specific models. The next slide. Yeah, and the basic question, so where we train the 1 trillion parameters? The next slide. So let's start with the basic architecture. So yeah, everyone knows the CPU and maybe the GPU. So for the CPU, the basic workloads are application and web. So this is the scalar architecture, and of course, so from the ML perspective and the training, the huge amount of the different type of the models. So the CPU is not the good choice, and especially if we discuss about the NLP or time series. So yeah, it's not the case. Yeah, one of the popular thing is the GPU, which we use for the graphic and HPC. So it's the vector architecture, and most of the ML models train on the GPU cards. But the GPU also has a lot of limitations related to the memory and the specific architecture to parallelization of the training tasks. And how I mentioned, so for these models where you need to train the huge amount of the parameters, so you need to find some kind of the new architecture which will be applied for this type of the ML models. And together with the Graphcore, basically, so the Graphcore build the specific processor which applied and specifically for the training ML models and inference ML models for NLP and time series, where we have the new architecture, dedicated memory for the cores, and provide the option to train the models, some kind of the like a chat, some kind of the GPT-3 or any other models like NLP and time series as well. And Graphcore is the UK-based company who build these processors, but this is the hardware company. And together, last year, the Gcore and Graphcore built the new cloud solution where we provide the option to bring the Graphcore hardware in the cloud in a few clicks. The next slide. Yeah, so what is the Gcore AI Cloud Infrastructure, or IPU Cloud? So the hardware, it's the very important thing, which we already described, but how to get this hardware. And we provide a simple tool where a customer can bring the AI cluster, the similar, like create the new virtual machine or bare metal. So it's the fully available AI cluster, which will be allocated and dedicated for your needs. And the new cluster deployment will equal in minutes. So you don't need to wait when the hardware will come to the data center, or your engineers will install the operation system and configure the network. So all the things will cover by the cloud, and you will have the fully available and ready to use AI cluster to train your ML models in a few minutes. And of course, about the pricing. So this is the big number of the cores in the hardware. It's not the super cheaper, but from our perspective, we would like to provide the really simple tool which will be available for everyone who would like to train the ML models. And the starting pricing is the €5 per hour, and we provide the per minute billing tarification for our customers. So you can train the 30 minutes, and you will pay only for the 30 minutes, not more. And you don't need to have the commitment from your side. So you can get on-demand resources for training your ML models. And for the performance level, so you can start with the 4 petaflops up to 89 petaflops of AI compute. So it depends on the AI cluster size, but it's really depends on your training model, and we provide the different type of the AI configuration clusters which are available for you. I'll mention on demand. The next slide. Yeah, and from the generation, so you can start with the smaller part with the bow pod 16, but in the cloud we provide the smaller, so it's equal the pod 4, where we have the 1 bow 2000. But you can see that how many petaflops you can get depends on the cluster configurations. And in the cloud, so we can provide the starting flavor, the pod 4, and also we can provide the cluster, which you call pod 256 for your needs. And it's also available in the cloud, and no matter, it will be the similar actions to create the new cluster. The next slide. Yeah, so what kind of the and what such of the tasks you can get with the Graphical IPUs? First of all, is the performance for the NLP, computer vision, and the graph networks. This is the unique architecture for differential results, and of course the low latency inference, where you can use our CDN for the inference moments. Also, you can get the support from our AI experts, and we can optimize your ML model to use from the GPU to use in the IPU as well. And of course, we have the extensive documentation and tutorials where you can find the full information how to start the AI cluster, how to learn or how to optimize your current ML models. Also, the IPU clusters support a lot of frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and also you can find the ready-to-use models on the Model Garden, which you can also run on our clusters as well. The next slide. Yeah, so you can see that. So the basic NLP ML models works on the birds, for example. So we have the comparison, the pod 16 with the DigiX A100 GPUs. Also, we have the benchmarks with the graph neural networks, especially for the TGN and Open Graph benchmarks. So all of this benchmarks and the solutions available in the public network. And also these presentations potentially will be shared, so these links will be available and you can find this very easy. The next slide. Yeah, and you can see that. So we have the typical IPU benchmarks where we compare with the efficient net B4 time to train. So you can see that. So how many hours you need to spend with the DJX A100 and how it's compared with the different pods configuration. Depends on the size, but you can see that. So pod configuration, it's more faster and more efficient if we compare with the GPU clusters. Next slide. Yeah, and why the customers would like to choose the IPU cloud solution compared with the other things. First of all, we proven cloud infrastructure and platform technology based in the Europe, and also we promote as the European cloud solution, as we are a Luxembourgish company and build the cloud services and solutions for the European customers and global in a global way. And also Graphcore is the real alternative solution for the AI market, where you can compete with the GPU and also with the TPU as well. Also, we provide the SLA with the financial guarantees, and you can get the skill set technical support 24/7 for your needs if you have any questions. And of course, the fully automated infrastructure, how I mentioned, so you can get the IPU clusters through self-service portal, REST API, and also we will release to manage the IPU clusters through Terraform. And our infrastructure compliant with ISO 27001. Also, we have the PCI DSS certificate, and we also the GDPR compliant. The next slide. Yeah, and we would like to provide the simple tool for the ML engineers where dev team can prepare the ML model, set the specific metadata, create the workspace where they can modify the ML code through Jupyter, train the model on the Graphcore infrastructure, and we are working to provide the serving and inference ML models on our edge environment, where we provide the Anycast endpoint for our customers in the global scale. Depends on the end user requests. So we will run the serving model in the specific location. And of course, from the end customer, you will get the single endpoint to get the access to your prepared and pre-trained ML model. The next slide. Yeah, so this is the high-level architecture. So the user has the access to the physical bare metal server or the virtual one. It's x86 server where it can run any frameworks and training tasks. And we create the private RDMA network between your server and the Graphcore hardware, where you can get the access to the IPUs. And also the old training task will go to the IPU, and all of this calculation will be provided through RDMA network. And also we provide the S3 object storage where you can store your data sets. And also you have an option to have the ephemeral NVMe storage locally in the server. But at the same time, we also provide the S3 object storage where you can store your data sets. The next slide. Yeah, so all of the things also available through virtual vPods. So we provide the different configurations. So you can start with the virtual pod configuration. So you will have the similar functionality, but we also provide the new functionality, which will be released soon, the suspension mode, where you can stop the cluster, we will save your configuration, and you can easily restore whenever you want. And also we provide the RDMA network, and also we have the SRUV configuration to get the access to the Graphcore hub. The next slide. Yeah, so from the feature side, so you can easily create the you can build, train, and deploy your ML models via control panel and API. Also, we will release the Terraform provider. Also, we have the option to have the direct connect to the hyperscalers on your on-prem infrastructure. You can use our S3 object storage to store your data sets. Also, you can get the access to the top bow configuration if you have the training task, which will be suitable for the high-end configuration. So it's also available for you. And how I mentioned, so we'll present in the cans the new functionality, which called the suspension modes, where you can temporarily pause the cluster and avoid any unnecessary charges while also being able to quickly resume. The next slide. Yeah, and also the IPU clusters support all tools and integrations. So we support all popular frameworks. We can integrate with any receiving and processing data, visualization. So you can also run on the virtual machines or bare metal all necessary visualizations. And also you can run the data platforms and install the data platforms, which will be also integrated with the IPU cluster. The next slide. Yeah, and also we have the several use cases with our customers. Also, we can see that one of the benefits which customer would like to achieve is the lower latency, especially for the inference of the ML models, where we can enable our network backbone and using the CDN to achieve the low latency and use the powerful hardware based on the Graphcore. Also, you can easily run the ready-to-use models through Model Garden, so it's already optimized models to run on the IPUs. And also you can see that, so you can find the use cases with Pienso and Alpha, how they use the IPUs for their use cases. And the similar for the GNN. So you can find also use cases and how they accelerated drug discovery, how drug discovery companies how they are used for the healthcare and for the protein interaction modeling as well. The next slide. Yeah, so for the locations, so we provide the two main locations in Europe, in Luxembourg and Amsterdam. So we built one of the biggest AI clusters based on the Graphcore in Amsterdam. And also we have a roadmap to launch the new location in the UK, in the new pods, which will be available in February. The next slide. From the pricing perspective, so we have the pricing for the Luxembourgish region, where we provide the classic pod system, and starting price equal the €5.10. For the Amsterdam location, next slide, you can see the different models and types which we provide for our customers. So we provide the virtual vPods, where we provide the virtual machines for our customers and also connect the IPU Graphcore hardware to the installation. And the start was €6.49 in the beginning. And also we can provide the pod 256 if you have the training task where you need the huge amount of the hardware where you can train your ML models. The next slide. Yeah, and some practical costs. So you can see that. So we train the ResNet and the BERT, and you can see that. So for the different pod systems, the price per hour and the time to train and the end price, which will be acquired by your infrastructure. So this is the real use cases with the real numbers. And for example, if you would like to train your ML models and achieve the 2 minutes for the time training, so it can be done with the above pod 256. The next slide. Yeah, and in the last, so we have a lot of big and global customers around the globe. So this is the gaming, entertainment industry, fintech companies, retail as well, which trusted their infrastructure and their business in our platform. And we really thank you for these companies who use our services and solutions. And we would like to help the big companies to achieve their new goals and implement the new innovative solutions and services which can be used by our platform. The next slide. Yeah, so thank you very much. I hope that so it will be very useful. And I would like to say the last topic. One more thing that so all registered attendee, you have a special surprise waiting for you. 5 attendees who participate in the booth, the webinar, and the World AI and accounts will be eligible for a promotional code worth the 100 euros for the cloud products. And of course, don't forget to redeem this offer by simply coming to the booth A42 at the World Artificial Intelligence Cannes Festival, mentioning that you're also participating in the webinar and collect the promotional code. So thank you very much for your time. Hope that so you can come to the Cannes and we can also see each other on site and have a great evening. Thank you very much and see you. Bye.